I am on. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I hate you, Facebook. I hate you, Facebook. You're my friend. Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody. It's still here, Jay. So I'm a few minutes late coming in. It's Friday. I have to put my phone down somewhere. I was going to see. I don't know what. I just eaten my phone. So listen, what I might do is I might come back in later on, as usual. I got a lot of stuff on my desk here, and I don't know what I've done with my phone. I had my phone in my hand 5 minutes ago because today, there it is, would be there, wouldn't it? So today is Friday. It's Fun Friday. So I don't know about you, but on Fridays, I will always, on Fridays, I have certain things that I put down to do. I don't know if you're the same. I actually have quite, how can I put this? I have quite I have to keep myself under control, basically, because I'm pretty sure that I have some form of attention deficit. So we're talking shiny object syndrome here. And one of the things with having shiny object syndrome, if you know what that is, means it's really, really, really easy for me to get sidetracked. So I was a bit late today because I was on a call with someone, and I now have this stick, right? Anybody in business will know what this means. I keep this stick because if I'm not careful, I go in on calls and I just tell everybody all this juicy, yummy stuff. And actually what happens is oh, I don't know why it's doing this. It's telling me I need to have an app open in order to do this now. How strange. But anyway, if you are watching this and you see it and you want to put a comment in underneath. So today we were talking about sleeping better and laughing more. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. I'm shouting because I didn't plug my Yeti microphone in. So I want to give you some practical tips, some doable practical tips today. And these are things I haven't done in the group before. So I haven't done these in the group before. I haven't done these in my page before. So if you come in and you see this, then you will be coming across stuff that actually I don't usually put into the group, and I don't usually do it because normally people get this stuff when they're actually working with me one-to-one. But I thought, why not do some today? So first of all, sleep better, laugh more. Why sleep better, laugh more? Because the true truth is that actually when you have anxiety, when you have depression, when you have any of the forms of anxiety, you are going to find that you actually have an enormous difficulty with sleeping well. And if you're not sleeping well, it has pretty much disastrous effect. It just keeps wanting me to use. No, I'm not going to do that. It just keeps us, it just, you know, if you've got problems with anxiety, it keeps wanting you to, there we go, there I am, lovely. It keeps, if you've got problems with anxiety, it's a cycle. You've got problems because you're talking to yourself all the time in your head. You are having horrible physical feelings, and you are not having good sleep. And so you get into this vicious circle where you're going around and you're not sleeping well, which is causing you to feel tired. You're feeling stressed, so that's causing you to feel tired. And actually, oftentimes what we need to do is we need to talk about how you can interrupt some of these patterns. all right? Because if you imagine everything as a sort of an interconnected loop, it's like a scarf that's tied round at the moment. It's connected, yes? Everything is interconnected. And if you can be beginning to start to make some shifts and changes to some of the things that you can make changes to, then what can happen is that things are not going to be the same. So the last few days, because we're on Friday the 4th today, and the last few days I've been talking about blocks, because I wanted to talk to you about the things that might actually be getting in the way. And I've actually got a particular interest in the way that people actually cause themselves to have blocks, and sometimes can actually be saying things like, well, there's nothing else I can do. I've tried everything and it doesn't work. Nobody I've spoken to has been able to tell me how to do this. And I'm sitting sometimes listening to this and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so now having put up all of these blocks and barriers, are you actually going to listen to me? Are you actually going to be interested in hearing another idea? And I sometimes have to pull back and I have to stop and I have to think to myself, well, this perhaps isn't the right time for me to be working with someone. So if you come to listen to this and you say, yes, but Jill, yes, but I've tried everything. I've tried everything. I can't sleep. I've tried everything. I've tried everything for my anxiety. I've tried everything. I've tried everything. The doctor's told me this. I've tried all the tablets. I've told this. Well, maybe there's just one thing to make a decision over, and that is there a possibility, like a tiny, tiny possibility that there could be something out there that you haven't tried? Seriously. And when somebody says to me something like, well, yeah, I've been thinking and thinking, and I really don't think there's anything else. I think everybody has given me all this information and there's nothing else I can do. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, well, maybe there is something else. And actually, if maybe what happens is that you stop thinking there's nothing you can do. And maybe you might notice that there are some things that either you've tried before and there's another way to do them, or actually there is something new you could learn. So let's talk a little bit about how into a bit of how today, how to have better sleep. Yes, how to have better sleep and laugh more. So which one should we do first? Which one should we do first? It would be nice if somebody was live on here and I was actually able to see what reactions I was getting. I don't mind talking into crickets. I know that sometimes some people actually do watch these later on, and that's fine. And you can put a replay, hashtag replay, if you're watching later. The thing is that wanting to change and actually being open to change and being interested in hearing and learning new and different ways is a very fresh way to work. It's a very fresh way to be, to actually just to stop a minute and say, well, maybe there is something different. So I think what we're going to do first today is we're going to spend a few moments talking about laughter. Now, some of you may know or may not know that I am trained and certified in laughter. And I have done a laughter facilitator course and a laughter yoga course. And I also combine the laughter work that I do with mindfulness. But what is the key when it comes to laughing more? Well, first of all, the human brain cannot differentiate between something that is fake and something that's real. So if you fake a laugh, in other words, if you act as if you are laughing, it's exactly the same physiology as if you heard something funny on the news or the radio or read in a book or a cartoon or a magazine or whatever. Well, the first thing I would suggest that you do is to have a look around the house and find out what there is that you have around and what things you like to do during the day that actually are quite funny. And this is really subjective, because if you're in a relationship with somebody else, it might well be that what you find is that your partner doesn't really find what you find funny. So actually that actually causes friction you're listening to something, you're watching a comedian, or you're actually watching some old movies or something, and you find that you think it's really funny, but your partner doesn't think it's funny. So there's like a friction there. So humor is actually very subjective. So what you find funny and I find funny is likely to be quite different. So if you find something funny and you start to laugh, sometimes it can be because actually you're laughing at the situation. So somebody might trip over. It's like, oh, that's funny. Or it might be that somebody's not wearing the right or what considered to be the appropriate clothing. Say they turn up at a dinner and they have got the wrong clothing on. It's like, you know. So when we work with something like laughter yoga, we are not looking at joke telling, because the problem with joke telling is that actually usually somebody is the butt of the joke. Yes. And immediately, of course, as soon as I start thinking about jokes, I start coming up with jokes that I can't really repeat because they're not politically correct. But what's really important is to actually think about what the essence of laughter is. And when you want to have more laughter, because this is going to have a very deep physiological effect on you, you can fake a laugh. So, for example, you can take your voice and you can start low, down, like low here. Find out how high it goes, right up here, right up here. And you might be watching this thinking, oh, that's just really silly. But you know, playing, there's nothing wrong with playing. Playing is not childish. Playing is not childish. Playing is not the domain of children. It's not the domain of children to play. Actually, to play and have fun and have joy is the domain of every single human. Every single human. So let's play with your voice. Make it right up to the top there, right up to the top. Out of your nose. And then take it right down. Oh, 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 oh. What's the lowest note you could go to? Oh, I mean, my throat today is like, oh, oh. I can't get much lower than that. What about high? Probably up there somewhere. So let's play with it. Let's make a laugh. Out of your nose. Let's make a laugh right up at the top, and then let's make a laugh right down the bottom. And when you do those two activities, what I want you to do is to notice how you have to use your body differently. So if you put your hand on your tummy and you put your hand on your chest, or in fact, we'll put your hand on your forehead when we're doing this. If you do that really high, feel what your tummy is doing. Feel what your tummy is doing. Right? And then, can you feel it's really different? Your body is actually having to work in a different way, create those different sounds. So when you're doing something like that and you're using the movement of the air over your vocal cords, what you're doing is you're changing the way that you use your physiology. And when you use your diaphragm down here, and you move the diaphragm, that actually has a big impact on your endorphin release. If you move your diaphragm and you breathe down here, that's a very different impact from you can see my shoulders tensing. You see this contracting, whereas down here, all right? So play with what you're doing. Now, if you listen to my voice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you'll be able to hear that the quality of my voice has changed. Now, the reason that this has happened is because I've just been on a call with someone and I really, really, really wanted to help them. But I've made this rule, okay? Because the thing is that when people come on calls with me, why should I give away all my information free? Seriously. Seriously, having said that, I've done 3 calls today. The first call I did with someone overseas. Let me just clarify this. I worked with somebody overseas earlier on today, and she lives in a country where she's earning about $9 an hour, American dollars. Now, what I'm charging at the moment, which is £97 for my 90-minute session, that's 10 hours work for her. In the UK, someone who's doing the comparable work to the work she's doing would probably be charging about £30 an hour, right? There's a huge difference between somebody on 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds an hour who's working as a clinician or a coach or something, being able to afford. So there's no way that I'm going to charge somebody earning $9 an hour, because that's not fair. That's not fair. So I did give her some free advice. And actually, that's good, because that might mean that she's able to earn more money. And then in the future, if she decides that she wants to work with me, she'll be able to afford to pay for me, right? But when you're actually on the phone to someone, like I'm on the phone to somebody and I'm really wanting to help them, as of itself, that can create some tension. So if you're somebody who works in an industry where most of the day you're doing things like call center, or you're working and you're face to face working with people who actually want, you're in a supermarket, working in a supermarket, working in a shop, or working somewhere where actually you're dealing with customers all the time. People are coming and going. What you might find is that when those people come in and they're complaining about something or they're asking, what you're finding is you're tensing up and your voice is starting to go up in the air like this, and you're really wanting to assist them, and your voice is getting higher and higher and higher. And what's happening is you're starting to talk more and more up here, and actually it's all getting very. And actually, what happens is that when you start and you drop things down, what happens is your voice drops, right? But one way that you can, if you like, counteract that is to play as I did with my voice. Yes? So when I started this live, my voice was up there. Now I can drop my voice right down. If I'm working with someone and what I'm doing is I'm talking to them and I'm saying, so how are you feeling right now? How are things going for you? That's very different from going, so how are you feeling right now? How are things going for you? Yes? So when we play with our voice, when we rise and lower, and then we come down. Not only are we getting the benefit of laughter, we're also getting a whole physiological shift, all right? So that's tip number 1, to do with laughter. How to laugh more. There are loads of processes and practices that we can put in place for that. So how to sleep better? How to sleep better? There's always easier. So how to sleep better? How to sleep better? Well, first of all, I've got on my website, and I'll put a link in for you. There's a little link that you can go through and you can get like a load of tips that are free, lots of background information there. And there's lots of practical things you can do, but if you followed all the steps and you get into bed at night time and you've done all the things and you've got the room set up properly and you've got in at the right time, you've had your bath, you've not got all the screens in the room, and you lie there. And there's a little process I'm going to teach you today. All right, so I want you to draw your attention to your shoulders and around here. And I want you just to bring your shoulders in a little like this, and then out. All right, now you can listen to my voice when I'm telling you to do this as opposed to copying. So close your eyes and allow yourself just to bring your shoulders forward a little and take your shoulders back. And I want you just to be aware of the quality of that movement. And notice as you're doing that movement, whether as you're making that movement, you're holding your breath, or you're able to move your shoulders and at the same time keep breathing. And if you notice that you held your breath when you moved your shoulders, continue to hold your breath and just notice what that's doing. And then if you allow yourself just to reduce down the amount of movement that you're making with your shoulders, to the point at which you can move your shoulders backwards and forwards, but you're actually still able to breathe at the same time, all right? And as you're doing that, I want you to allow yourself just to look down a little bit as your shoulders are coming forward. And then as your shoulders go back, allow yourself just to lift up. So you're just allowing yourself just to come forward, just tiny movements. So not like this, but like tiny. So you almost, I mean, if I was doing it in my imagination and just a tiny bit, it might be so small, you actually hardly see me moving at all. All right, so make it as small as you possibly can. And leave your attention on your body and feel what's going on inside your body. And then maybe as you bring your shoulders forwards, you can breathe out. And then as you allow your shoulders to come back, you can breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in. And just do that a few times and then leave it alone and stop. And notice how the quality of your body feels now. Notice what it feels like now to take that breath in. And then breathe out. And then come back in and then breathe out. You might still be going. And just allow yourself to feel what it feels like just to do those processes together. Notice what it feels like in your shoulders. Notice how you can feel your body. And imagine if you were to be in bed at night time, lying there. You know, you practice a few of your breaths, practice a few of your and and then just allow yourself just to let your shoulders curl forward and back a little. Just like a little wave as you lie there nice and warm. And then you stop and rest and feel how relaxed your body feels. And imagine what it would be like to be beginning to start to take yourself into that kind of state so that you're able to keep your attention on your body. And in the background there's a noise which we shall ignore. It's the noise of someone laughing. Whee! And just observe how your body feels. My body feels lovely now. Feels lovely and easy and chilled, and ooh, I can feel how I can move myself around. So there's two how-tos, two practical how-to tips that I've given you today. Two little things you can work with. Two little ways that you can actually try out and find out if this makes a difference to how your body feels and how you sense yourself, and also maybe what's happening with your voice. So what I'm going to do is close now. I'm going to do about half an hour. It's sensible. I will leave this in the group. I will put all the titles and everything up, and I look forward to maybe seeing some comments later on. Take care. Have a lovely rest of the day.